God create love at first sight? As we read about in Genesis 24, 62 to 64. Genesis 24 is referring to Isaac coming up out of the field and meeting his wife, or at that point, his prospect, Rebekah, at his tent. He says, "Who is this?" The servant says, "This is the woman that God has selected for you to be your wife." And he loved her, the Bible says. Right there on the spot. Is love at first sight biblical? Is love at first sight God's intention? Is there only one person for you? I would argue yes. Yes. If you're walking in lockstep with God, the Bible says that the path of a righteous man are ordered by God. Therefore, God's got somebody for you. However, if you deviate, if you wander, you settle. The moment you settle, that person becomes Mr. and Mrs. Right. But I do believe that if you give your life to the Lord, He's got everything figured out because it's His life that He has chosen for you. He's a good God. It is not good for man to be alone. It's not good for woman to be alone. And He will supply all your needs according to His riches in heaven. I believe that with all my heart. Now, that opens up a lot of questions in the sense of, well, how do I know if I got the right person? Again, if you're married, it's the right person. It's the right person. It's that simple. Listen, here's the deal. God is not beyond using our mistakes. This is a tricky question, and I know I'm not going to answer it completely. I can't because I'm not God. I mean, anybody who dares to believe in predestination, who dares to believe in quote-unquote fate, has to at some point tap out and be like, yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. Because see, the thing is if I did know everything, I would be equal with God. There's just certain things we're not going to know. But based upon God's revelation, inside of His Word, we can know enough. We can know enough to know that God is sovereign, that God works all things, that God's got a plan for all people, that God does have a perfect plan. The question is what involvement do we contribute to that? Do we contribute anything, or are we simply marching along like puppets on a string or pre-programmed robots? Here's the thing, you can't answer that. Because if you're a robot, then you're pre-programmed to think whatever you're going to think, including your own skepticism. It's that simple. Back to the main point. You need to wait. Don't risk it. The reason why many of you guys ask this question is because either A, you don't like the person that you're with and you want someone to blame, or two, you're freaked out that you've missed it. Just rest. God's good. God's big. God's great. He's got that person. Rest. Man, what have you been reading inside of Genesis? Whenever man gets antsy and ceases to rest, what happens? Sin. When he rests, it all works out because God works it out.